What is going on YouTube? Hit it back making another brand new crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to look at a couple of interesting things. As you guys know, and as expected and called, the market is starting to correct down after, parasailing up into the overbought market. We're starting to correct back down and kind of even ourselves out to allow us to break, obviously, to higher levels. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP, and checking out its small correction that it is starting to have, and then trying to figure out where it could be projected to in the near future. I also have an article posted by NewsBTC in regards to Bitcoin, highly bullish despite the sell-off. Here's what could propel it to $10,000. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and let's jump into today's episode. So guys, as you can see, yesterday I made a very interesting video in regards to the massive descending fractal forming on XRP that you can see clearly shown right here. And we also started to see a small correction out above the major resistance that is on XRP. As you guys can see right here, this major white downtrend and this descending triangle is a very strong resistance that the coin has had quite a bit of trouble breaking through. So with today's video, we are going to spend quite a bit of time figuring out whether or not we can continue to break through there and what the specific barriers are and whether or not we can break through. Also, I did speak to more people on Dudx, and I believe the next cryptocurrency to be added to Dudx will be Ethereum, which will be awesome because Ethereum is definitely one of those coins that I've mentioned numerous times over and over in regards to technical analysis, and there could have definitely been some plays where we could have bought long and sold short, as you can see clearly. Very easy coin to track and trace, so the fact that that is coming to Dudx is freaking awesome. So if you guys haven't already, definitely make sure to check out the first link in the description to get yourselves ready and get yourselves to understand how exactly to use the platform before Ethereum comes and you want to make an investment and you don't know where to begin. So definitely check that out. Otherwise, you can see on the current coin market cap that markets are pretty much down, and it's honestly expected. It's been mentioned before that I'm expecting and anticipating some small recovery or correction to the downside before we see that immediate burst of energy to shoot us up. And it's all happened in the past. It's all based on prior market movements, so we can basically use those and apply it to the market right now to predict or get an educated guess in regards to where this coin could be moving to. But you can see the top 10 cryptos, everything is down. You can see Bitcoin SV number 5 up 3% while the rest of the market is down, besides Tether at $1. You can see Bitcoin is starting to drop. We've seemingly capped off, and now all of the cryptos are having this small correction to the downside. And as I now jump into the technical analysis, that's where I want to begin. So I believe yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, I mentioned that it is possible to short the market in the small correction to the downside. This honestly may be the end of the correction, or we may see just a smaller one, a little bit more movement to the downside. Now, just to give you a percentage of the drop, if we started off at 92, we have about a 13% drop, which can be quite profitable if we scale this down, about 10% if you already are starting your short position, which is something you could do. And honestly, the way the markets are looking, Bitcoin looks like it wants to just correct back down to its high-low minimum moving average, as foreshadowed by a lot of the other cryptocurrencies. You can see XRP being one of those, which was pretty much intertwined after facing a bit of resistance from the high-low MMA after scaling up on this small uptrend we have in the daily. You can see, which was expected, was as we came into contact with not only the resistance but this high-low MMA, we started to face some problems and we're starting to crack lower, as well as retesting overbought right here. You can see in the past we have broken through both of these, and then we immediately corrected below here. And as I scale us back up in the past, once again, a very easy movement up above, which some people probably thought we were blasting up, and then we immediately corrected back down and faced some pretty nasty lows. So definitely don't jump the gun when you see movements like this. There are a lot of signs that will let you know that we're going to correct lower. Obviously, being overbought is one of them. And then when we start to see the MACD crossing on the weekly, then we know for sure that long term we are headed up. So honestly, I do believe a lot of the markets today are undervalued, and this small correction is something necessary in order to keep pumping higher. So these are some small little movements that you can make money off of. As you can see, Ethereum is one of those coins that we can reference. You can see we did break and branch above the high-low MMA, and the fact that we were entering overbought, as mentioned yesterday for sure, and definitely the day before, when we become overbought, it is definitely a need to correct back down to give us more level on the daily, and then we could head higher up. Now, this isn't a bearish, market. You can see we're still in a bull market right now. You can see that we are about to have that MACD crossing on Ethereum. So ultimately, all in all, if we can actually confirm the cross, this is just a small minor recovery from the massive amounts of volume that have sunk into the market. And we should still be, honestly, a path to the $213 area. So if you're debating about doing a short for Bitcoin, maybe expect to see it drop as low as $8,100. And then we're going to go full steam ahead back up is what my prediction is. Honestly, XRP is the only one that's giving me quite a bit of concern. We may break bearish back down through here, and that would ultimately show that all these coins are headed lower. But when you compare it to the weekly, showing that we are seeing that MACD crossing, it does give us reason to believe that we probably did bottom out, and we are starting to head back up. Now, to jump into that article shown by NewsBTC, you can see that Bitcoin and the aggregated crypto markets have incurred immense volatility over the past several days and weeks, which has come about as Bitcoin's bulls and bears have engaged in an intense battle that has, over the past 24 hours, favored Bitcoin's bears. As we know, Bitcoin plummets towards $8,600, which we're currently at right now, but the rally may not be over yet, which is what you guys have to consider. Basically, this rally has marked a significant extension of the upwards momentum that the cryptocurrency incurred earlier this month when it began the rallies from the low $6,800. You can see it says it is imperative to note that Bitcoin is still trading up significantly from its multi-day lows in spite of the latest rejection, as we know and understand. So they say Blackroot's co-founder Josh Rager, a highly regarded analyst, spoke about this in a recent tweet, noting that he isn't worried about any notable trend shifts unless Bitcoin drops all the way below $7,700, which is about $900 less than where we currently are positioned at right now. And I am gung-ho full for it. As long as the $8,400 support holds, Bitcoin could be bound for a movement past $10,000. And I am right there with him, and I do agree. As you can see, this is what he's referring to. You can see the immediate correction and downtrend right here, and the fact is we are now currently bouncing off the top of it and starting to head up. He's basically referring to if we break below this resistance right here, which is currently acting as a support, then we're probably going to be heading down. But if we can hold above this support, there's a very high chance we will bounce off of here, recover to lower levels, and then decide to immediately shoot up. And as you can see, his $8,400 resistance or support is right here. Honestly, I would consider the low to be 8,100, but I mean, it's hearsay at this point and it really doesn't matter. You can see on the daily, the same thing goes with this. I'm honestly very bullish on Ethereum and the rest of the market to be shooting up. As long as we stay above the descending fractal, we can bounce on here and shoot up. You can see it's coming into contact with a very strong support. Ethereum, you can see numerous occasions where we've bounced as a resistance, support, and now the fact that we broke back above here, and with the high-low MMA, there's a very high chance we will not be breaking, or a very low chance that we will break below here and fall. So with that being said, the markets are still, in an immediate correction to the upside. And I do believe with all the volume coming into the markets, we will all still be heading upwards. You can see on Litecoin, a coin that I haven't really spoken about in depth for a while, is doing very well too. The fact is we did break out of the resistance. This bearish, formation, this bearish fractal finally did what we were anticipating it to do, was break bullish out of the fractal. Usually that's what the pattern pretty much predicts. It was only a matter of time. For those of you that have called me on these shorts, and yes, it's true, I did make a bad play there, but ultimately I was anticipating this to happen. Correction back down, and then eventually we blast off once we get funneled down into the bottom here. We did, on the other hand, decide to break out a little earlier than planned, and that's totally fine with me. With that being finally confirmed, I am now fairly bullish. Usually out of these massive, they're either bull flags, bear flags, I believe bull flags, or descending fractals, or pennant flags. They tend to break bullish at the end of them. And honestly, it seems like we're doing exactly that, and just that on Litecoin. So with that being said, the fact that we finally broke above the high-low MMA, and to throw in the fact that we are now starting to see the MACD bullish cross right here on the weekly chart, because it's actually happening with with Litecoin right now, you can actually see the crosses happen. There's a very high chance that by easily May, if you bought in at 55, we could easily be up 200% on your investment by the end of May. Sorry, if you buy in now, by the end of May, we'll easily be retesting anywhere between $64 and $100 on a conservative note. Very possible we could shoot up even higher than that. As you see, FOMO from what I would have capped off at 112 shot us all the way up to 150. So very high chance we could easily see the same thing happen. You know, an easy conservative approach at $100 could easily shoot us up to 150 like before, and that would give us 300% return on investment if you buy into Litecoin right now and decide to hold for the long term. But honestly, what we're looking for right now is for us to break inside of this high-low MMA on the weekly, and there's a very high chance we will do so, being that we just had this bullish MACD cross. Lastly, for those of you still concerned with this bearish correction right now, this is only temporary. It makes sense, guys. It's a natural recovery due to the fact that we were in overbought on the daily charts. Once these recover ever so slightly, get us back down to about 50 or 60 on the RSI, we will start to head up once again. Very high chance we will use the high-low MMAs as a support to bounce us even higher up to finally chase that weekly high-low MMA. So likely that Litecoin will bounce off of its support at 54 on its way and momentum to rally all the way up to $65. With that, same thing goes with Bitcoin. Bitcoin potentially could swing back down to $8,100, retesting and regaining support due to the fact that we are overbought here. And you can just reference this off of its past. You can see right here, we were overbought. Right here, we were overbought right here. We were entering that trending sideways. There was no more room to head up, so it decided to correct back down just a little bit, sending itself from a 74 on the RSI all the way down to a 50, and then gave us enough momentum within that to blast all the way up to $8,000. So from 52, it jumped to $8,000, $3,000 on each Bitcoin, and ultimately that's what we're now anticipating to happen right now. This could be foreshadowing a small bit of consolidation, could let us and open the path to a major move to the upside, easily breaking us above 10,000. Same thing goes with Ethereum, consolidating back down from being overbought on the daily, and then we should expect to see another big blast of support shooting us higher. And once again, the same thing goes for XRP. The only difference is all the other cryptos, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, are above the high-low MMA, while XRP is below it. With that gives me a concern that there is a small chance this could correct lower and even pull us all the way back down to maybe 20 cents. If we end up breaking back down inside of the downtrend, there is a very high chance that we're not going to be able to get out of it until retesting 16 cents on XRP. Otherwise, that is going to wrap up today's episode. If you're new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, check out DueDEX. It is the first link in the description, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.